Okay, so this is going to be for the complex number class assignment. This is going to model the complex numbers and do some common operations. So I'm going to move over. I already printed it here, so I'm going to move over to the code. Okay, so we have a header file, complex H. Make sure we reference it or include it in. This is the CPP file. The outline was pretty simple. Has our friend and member functions for all of our operations that we're going to be doing with our little imaginary numbers. So we're going to move on to the default constructor, conversion constructor, and parameter constructor. So for the default, we make sure everything was set to 0. For the conversion, we're going to convert it to a double. And then for the parameterized constructor, we're going to make sure that it just stays within these parameters. Okay, moving on. So we have our negation and our plus and minus and our multiplication. So these like the operations we're going to be doing. And these are friend functions. And then we're going to use the complement function here to return the conjugate of imaginary numbers, which is whenever you do the math, you usually get like a conjugation. So we're going to return that here. And then we have another operator that is overloaded, and it's going to print it in the, like, whenever you have like an imaginary number, it's going to print it with like the correct format. So where you get like the number plus like the number and like the I next to it. So like that's what you get here, or the minus depending on what the math is. And then yeah, that's really about it. And then our main file, just make sure that everything is tested and printed correctly. So it just kind of sets up how everything's supposed to be printed for each one. And it's a little different for negation, but for multiplication, addition, subtraction, everything else is pretty much the same. Even for the conjugation, it's pretty much straightforward. And for the equality, obviously, if it's equal, it'll just tell you it's equal. And that's also still within the parameters. And okay, and then the hardest part was knowing when to use friends and members for the operators, for each operator, and then just managing those as needed. Knowing that it's a member or a friend function, and that's really about it.